For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. This is episode 50 already. Holy cripes. Excuse my language, but 50 episodes. We have now officially wasted 25 hours of your time, ladies and gentlemen, and I thank you for letting me be a part of your day, whether you're listening to this on Fridays when the show goes live, or if you just listen to it throughout the week. Maybe you're bored on the weekend. Maybe you're hungover on the weekend and you just need something to ease your stomach. Well, you're tuned into the wrong thing. But anyway, definitely I want to thank everybody who tunes in week after week, who sends us email, who tweets us, who follows along, who shares, who whatever. We couldn't do it without you. And, you know, we've had some really fun times. Some celebrity guests, some big names, some names maybe you've never heard of, and we've had some laughs. I've gone on 30-minute rants some weeks, and it's just been great. So the email address is live@jbonair.com if you ever want to share anything with us. Live, L-I-V-E, at jbonair.com. Now, one thing that I do want to point out, and if I'm not mistaken, we tweeted about this a few days ago because I started getting a whole bunch of emails, is independent artists. If you are, and I mean music, if you're a group or a duo or a single solo artist who is recording things and just, you know, you've got a YouTube channel or SoundCloud or whatever it is, send the link, tell us about yourself, what you do you have any gigs coming up, what should people know about you. You can send your music so we can listen to it. Now, we don't do music on this show, and this show isn't licensed, so we wouldn't be playing any of your music, but you know, that's not to say that we can't talk about your website and then you can tell people about how to check out your music, right? So again, live@jbonair.com. And I've got to say, there's a special place in my heart for an independent artist because, if you haven't heard, I'm a best-selling author. And I know the struggle of making that happen. I did not have a big book publishing deal. I did not have a literary agent. And actually, let me just rewind. And I know the people that planned this show are sitting in the corner going, what is he doing? We've got other stuff to talk about today. Sorry, I'm going to go on this rant. Because I think it's incredible the way that people can come and take nothing and make it something and make a living out of it or be rich and famous from it. Not like a Kardashian, but, you know, with something substantial. So what I did was I've been a journalist, a newspaper columnist, a writer for many, many years, and everybody had been telling me to write a book. You know what? Your personality is crazy, your sense of humor is bizarre, you should write a book. And everybody thought that my first book was going to be really funny, and it wasn't. It was a very heavy story. It's called A Double Dose of Sociopath. It was a heavy story. The next one I wrote was called It's Time to Get Cheap, Girl, and we marketed it to our radio audience, to women, and it flopped. It didn't do very well at all. So, I realized that I am from Winnipeg, which is a city known to be cheapskate central, and I thought, wait a second, I wrote this book about saving money because I had a contract to write marketing blogs about saving money. Why not just take all this stuff and write a book? And I had bought a house 3 or 4 years earlier. I've been in my house for 8 years, so yeah, it was about that. And I started to do things just to cut corners and live cheaply. When you first get a house, here's the deal, maybe you can relate. You first get a house, you're leaving the lights on, you're having every TV channel known to man, your fridge is stocked, your cupboards are full, and then you kind of sit there going, oh, I'm really wasting a lot of money. I'm not watching half of these channels, and I don't eat half the food, and it's just going bad. So there's things you can do that can cut your costs and your expenses, and that's what I've been doing for now 8 years that I've been living in my house. And so I decided, the book's already written, how about I just change the cover, change the title, and then rebrand it specifically to Winnipeg. And sure as hell, it became a bestseller. I did the circuit of going on the morning shows on TV, on the radio shows. I pitched myself to the newspapers to say, hey, look, I've got this book. And the book wasn't even in stores at the time. So I'm on these shows promoting the hell out of this book, and now the city is buzzing about it, and people want it. But they can't get it anywhere. Then, boom, launch it. It's on Amazon, it's on iTunes, but now people are still wanting it. So I was able to then take all of those media clippings, so the videos from when I was on the morning shows, the audio from when I was on the radio, the link to the website where the newspaper posted the story, and then I can go now to the buyers at the big companies, your Costco's, your Walmart's, your stores like that, and say, hey, look, the city is buzzing about this book, you need to carry it. This is every media outlet is reporting on this book, you need to get it now. And again, sure as hell, Costco wanted 432 copies within a week and a half. Now you have to realize that retail space, one, it's very hard to get because the big publishers pay a lot of money and sweep it up. And so to be just a local author who's ballsy enough to now go to a corporate office and say, hey, you know what? Let's get this book on your shelves is almost unheard of. And it's also unheard of for them to do it. They don't normally talk to just regular average Joe author. The way that you would normally do it is I, as the author, would pitch myself endlessly to hundreds of literary agents. I would wait 6 months to get a form letter that says, Dear Author. And as soon as you get a Dear Author email, you know they don't want you, and it's just another rejection. And so I had done this with my first book. I jumped through all the hoops. Didn't work. So this time, I didn't even go that route, because you get your literary agent. The literary agent then pitches you to publishing houses. The publishing house will then sign on, take control of your book, design it, make all the money, and then get it into stores. So you're looking at almost maybe a year, 2 years perhaps even, because book publishers already have next year's books, ready to go and lined up, and they're giving it to the Stephen Kings and the, all those other authors that I can't seem to think of off the top of my head. But I jumped all that. I jumped the literary agent, I jumped the book publishing house, and went right to the seller, the retailer, and worked directly with them. And as Speak Free Media, my company, we were able to negotiate, and we got these books in the stores within 2 weeks, which was crazy. And it was right before Christmas as well. And so here we are. Now it's selling out. We've got book signings. We've got book signings at stores that don't normally have book signings, which was pretty cool. And then all of a sudden, the Winnipeg Free Press that's the big daily newspaper in Manitoba, in the province, and the biggest media outlet in the province as well. And I pitch it to them, go, hey, let me write a column because this book is going crazy. They say, you know what, let's do a video column for the business section. We do it for 2 years. It was a hit. And and again, it's just one of those things where it's persistence, it's having a business mind and not giving up and just making it happen. So back to that whole indie artist thing, I do have an appreciation for the struggles that you go through, because here's why. Writing a book is not a get-rich-quick scheme, especially if you know how to write and you know what you're doing. It's hours and hours of writing. It's hours and hours of editing. It's then hours and hours of editing for somebody else. It's potentially having to pay that editor to edit for you, or graphic designer to design your cover, and then you've got to pay to have the books printed. So you have to put out a lot of expenses just to get this book turned around. Now, when you get a book deal, or when you've got a retailer signing on for it, they're not necessarily paying you right away. So we had to, I think it was Costco, it was about a $1,700 book order for us, for me to get the books printed and shipped to Costco. Now, yes, we had several $1,000s come in after, but they don't pay you for several months after that. So we'd put out about $2,000 in total for printing and shipping and everything with the Costco order and with other stores. It ended up being actually probably about $3,000 or $4,000. You don't recoup that for a long time. And then if it doesn't sell, they don't sell out, and they start returning books to you, now you've got much more inventory than you had to begin with. So if you've got a good book that's a hit and you can sell it, great, go for it. Digital books, ebooks, Kindle versions, what have you, that's also where it's at too, because you've got no expenses when it comes to producing that thing over and over and over again. So back to the indie artists, live at jbonair.com, live at jbonair.com. Tell us about your music, tell us about what you do, tell us about your struggles, what have you learned, because I bombed big time with my first book and had, 80 copies printed for this big book launch that nobody showed up for, and it was embarrassing as hell, and I went home and I don't know that I cried, but I almost did. It was just heartbreaking because, it's your project. You think that you've got this huge thing that everybody's going to love, and it just goes nowhere, and it's heartbreaking. But you don't give up. You try it again. You learn from what you did wrong or what you could have improved upon last time, and you take it and you make a go at it, and then you're a success. And that's exactly what I did. Did I do anything remarkable and groundbreaking and revolutionary? No, I didn't, in all honesty. But at the same time, I didn't give up. Tried it again, and look at what happened. So, live at jbonair.com. My God, I should be a motivational speaker, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk Valentine's Day right after this.
If you're diabetic, this message could change your life. Is your blood sugar out of control even when you do all the right stuff? Are you afraid of diabetic blindness and the risk of amputation, as well as all those other side effects? Well, you should be. Is there anything that could help manage your blood sugar? Nobetes is a natural supplement that may quickly and dramatically lower your blood sugar.
My name is Bob Corder. I've been using Nobetes for about 3.5 to 4 months now. And in the first 3 months, I've actually lowered my blood sugars from 500s down to 139, and then it dropped to 88 to 93.
My name is Kirsten. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and while taking Nobetes, my blood sugar levels dropped from 295 to 115 in just one day.
The FDA hasn't evaluated these statements, and Nobetes isn't intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. But for many, it's helped drop their blood sugar. So if you've been evaluated with high blood sugar, don't delay. Evaluate Nobetes now. Call 800-478-9568 and get your free bottle. Just cover shipping and handling. Call 800-478-9568. That's 800-478-9568.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. Thanks for tuning in. You know what I love about this show, and I love doing our radio shows, but what I love about this show is that we don't have the restrictions in terms of timing like we do on the radio, because we've got our syndicated radio shows that are top 40 music and country music, and we've got 4 songs we've got to play in like a 15 or 16 minute block. Then they only give me 2 minutes to talk, then we're back into the music, then we've got 4 minutes of commercials, then we're back to 2 songs, then I get a minute and a half, and then I just went on, that was like a 10-minute rant that I just went on there, and it's just fine. We've got our commercials in place. We're good to go. Everything that we talked about this morning that I was going to discuss on the podcast today is now out the window because I just took over a third of the show with a rant that we hadn't planned on doing, which is pretty cool. But I can do it. Not like on the radio where you've got all these obligations and other criteria that you've got to fit into the schedule. So, in that long monologue that I gave you earlier, I was talking about the book, The Official Guide to Being a Winnipeg Cheapskate. We've got an American version. So with Valentine's Day coming up, if you want to mock your loved one's spending, you can certainly pick up The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, or my other book, which is called Put Down Your Damn Phone Already, which I think is even funnier, because what I love about Valentine's Day is that is supposed to be a day just for the two of you, right? It should be focusing on each other, having a good time. But how many people, and you know that they do this every year, and again, I would love to hear from you, live at jbonair.com, how many people are going to take a picture of the flowers they got? How many people are going to take a picture of the teddy bear they got? How many people are going to take a picture of the engagement ring they got and blast that on social media? It's very bizarre that the first thing people think of is, gotta grab the phone, gotta take a picture of this. I don't think that way. A lot of people do. And so Valentine's Day, I would suggest you do put down your damn phone already and you spend time with your loved one. Because your relationship is now open to the world, and 400, 500, 1,000, a million people, however many people check out your page, and that's great, but I think people should still have their privacy. That's just me. I don't put anything about my personal relationships with people on social media. You will see stuff about my dogs, and you will see stuff about our radio shows in the newspaper and the books or whatever it is that we're doing. Nothing about my personal life. You don't see pictures of me at family events. You don't see, I'm not tagged in anything like that because I just don't do it. And so, I think that if you put down your damn phone, you can have a good time and enjoy it. That's one of the things that I like about going to, family get-together like Christmas or Thanksgiving or something is I'm so consumed with everybody that's around me and talking and having a laugh, having a drink or whatever it is, that I'm not even thinking about my phone because I'm caught up in the moment. I'm not thinking, oh my God, where is my device? I've got to check in and see what's happening on Facebook. Let it, in the words of Frozen, let it go. Let it go. So, Valentine's Day. This is one of those things where Valentine's Day, it seems like, when it comes to male-female relationships, traditionally it's always that the guy has to buy the flowers, the guy has to pay for dinner, the guy has to do this. Well, that's a load of crap these days, in all honesty. Also, too, because it's guy-guy relationships, girl-girl relationships, right? You mix and mingle. But it's supposed to be that, you do for each other. And it seems very one-sided. To me, it's actually very sexist, I would say, that the expectation is on a guy, and we're talking male-female relationship then, for the guy to, buy the flowers for the woman. Not that, the average guy might not want flowers. Many will want them. I'm not saying that, guys don't do flowers. Oh, no, that's for fairies. Not at all. You know what? Send me flowers. I will appreciate flowers. I will, because why? It's telling me that you cared. They might not be my favorite thing in the world, but you know what? You did something nice for me. You got me this because you care, and that's cool. So it's a matter of doing something for each other. And so if you don't want to break the bank, because you know what I did last year, is I went and found out, I did a comparison shop. A dozen roses the day before and on Valentine's Day was $40, if I'm not mistaken. So I went on the 15th of February, so the day after Valentine's Day. I got, I think, was it 4 dozen roses for the same price. And I took a picture of it. I'm going to have to try to find that. We'll post that up. But, just for these flowers that I could buy them 10 hours later, and the price is significantly lower than on that one particular day. Waste of money, I think, especially for something that just dies so quickly. And really, there is an expectation that you're going to get roses on Valentine's Day, let's be honest. So why not do something creative? And now we're going back to my the official guide to being an American cheapskate, or the official guide to being a Winnipeg cheapskate book. How can you have a cheap Valentine's Day? Well, I'm going to tell you some of my cheapskate tips right after this break.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
JB here, back on the Scribble podcast again. You can always listen to us at soundcloud.com and on iTunes. Just look up the Scribble, and you can subscribe, and we'd love to have that, because then it just automatically comes to you every week. Yeah, I'm not big into the iTunes thing, and honestly, I mean, I've heard of it, but I just never used it, and naturally I had to find out exactly, if I'm telling people to subscribe on iTunes, I've got to figure out exactly how to do that. So I actually had to download iTunes to my computer. I have a BlackBerry which doesn't have iTunes, so it's a little bit different. It's tricky for me. One of the other things that somebody was just pointing out in the room here when we had that break on was that I love that I tease you with cheapskate tips, and I'm going to tell you how to be cheap, and then we go to commercial and we make money. That's really good. So Valentine's Day is coming. Like I said in that last rant, it's not about blowing the bank and going broke because you've got to buy the $40 dozen roses. There's a lot of things that you can do just to have a special time. My first piece of advice: ditch the phones. Honestly, please ditch the phone. Just ditch the phone. Just ditch the phone. That's all. That is all. Secondly, be creative, okay? You can have a Valentine's Day and not spend any money whatsoever. You do not have to go out and have a fancy dinner. You do not have to even order in food. You can make your own food. And you know what? Part of the fun could be, sexy time with your partner where you're cooking a meal together, right? It could be you're cooking your partner's favorite thing and they're cooking your favorite thing, or whatever it is. And then maybe you start to tease each other and you have a little bit of a food fight, right? And it escalates. Or maybe you just do some cooking in your skivvies. Or nude, although I don't want to be responsible, like if you get any grease burns or anything on your you-know-whats, that's not my fault. I'm putting that disclaimer out there. I'll get you to talk to our legal team here. I'm not condoning that, but hey, you know what? It could be fun, right? I think there's some celebrities, if I'm not mistaken, Christina Aguilera had like naked Sundays or something around the house, and that was just kind of what she did, right? So why not spice it up for Valentine's Day? Get a little wild. Although if you're naked every day at home, maybe it's not anything special for Valentine's Day, but you can do something like that. Secondly, If it's nice outside and where you live, if there's snow or something like that, go out and make a snowman, or just have a snowball fight, or roll around in the snow. Or here's the cool thing. You know how they always do those polar plunge kind of things? Well, fill up the bathtub, get that nice and hot, and then, I don't want to tell you to go streaking, but maybe if you've got a backyard or a private backyard and it's night, it's dark out anyway, maybe just go for a little naughty streak or something. And then, because it's cold outside, come running in and then go into the hot tub or the bathtub, whatever it is that you have. That's something fun as well. Another thing would be, now if you're married, let's say that you've been married for 10 years. Let's just do a round number, 10 years. Think back. So now it's 2016, so you got married in 2006, okay? So why not, this is where I might allow you to get your phone, but you might just have to go to your computer. Look back, if you've had a digital camera for that long or a camera phone for that long, look back and see year by year what you've done in your relationship. Maybe you took a vacation. Maybe it was your honeymoon was the first set of pictures that you've got, or your wedding pictures even, I guess. And then what happened in year 2 of your marriage? Maybe you had a baby or something. So look back at the pictures of the baby. By the way, yeah, get rid of the kids for Valentine's Day. Put them in the dog kennel, get rid of them, send them outside in the snow, something. You've got to have couple time, alone time. Send them to the grandparents' house. The grandparents have been married for too long. They don't celebrate anymore. But, so look back. Then find out what you did in 2010, 2011, 2012, and take a walk down memory lane and just, enjoy it. And spend that togetherness. Because here's the deal, is that's going to strike up conversation and memories for 10 years worth of love. And again, it's not costing you anything, and you're reminiscing about the good times that you've had. So that's another idea as well. Another thing would be if you have a VCR, or maybe you've transferred your VCR tapes onto a DVD or onto your hard drive or something like that, watch some of your old home movies or family videos or your family vacation, whatever it was. Okay? You can also do arts and crafts, a puzzle, again, something silly. You know what you can also do? Is have a dance party. If you have flashlights, most people do, if you have flashlights and some classic 80s music or dance music, maybe some old Cyndi Lauper or some old Whitney Houston, maybe some Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, blast the music, get some flashlights, pretend they're glow sticks, and just dance around the room. You can have a dance party. So now you're burning calories, you're getting exercise, you're having a laugh, it's together time, and there you are. And again, you haven't spent $40 on roses. You've spent just a little bit of time together, and that's great as well, right? So there's a bunch of ideas, and, you really should show your love every day, obviously. We always hear that, right? It's very cliche just to have Valentine's Day, one day a year and blah, 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 blah. But it really just does take some creativity. And you know what? I think, in all honesty, doing things like that is more special as a couple anyway, as opposed to going to the Hallmark, getting the $4 card that's going to be thrown out in a couple weeks, the flowers that are going to die, because that's cliche and that's what's expected of you. So be creative, have a good time, and by all means, show some love. Show some love. Show us some love on Twitter as well. We're on Twitter at The Scribble Show. Here's Larson to tell you about that.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up The Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Thank you, Larson, at The Scribble Show. Now, my Twitter account, or Twitter, is the handle. It's not an account. I guess whatever, your screen name. Remember that back in the day with AOL? Mine is at SF Celeb Watch. SF as in speak free, SF Celeb Watch. And Monday nights, you can see me tweeting live during The Bachelor. And wow, I kind of get in trouble Tuesday mornings after live tweeting. Usually it's from the folks here that do the Scribble podcast, but I find the show horribly entertaining and laughable, and I don't take it seriously, and I don't think many viewers do. But of course, you do have those people that are obsessed with the show, that love it. They have it's called Bachelor Nation, right? They have their viewing parties, and they all get together. Now they Skype with Chris Harrison to talk about Bachelor. And I just mock everybody the whole time. I mean, if I'm going to sit for 2 hours to watch this manufactured, quote-unquote, love on a reality show, I'm going to have a laugh about it. I'm sorry, I will. There was last week this one girl who said that she was really mad, and she's got her bleep together, her SH, together. And I tweeted, no, you don't. You're on The Bachelor, sweetie. You don't have it together. You don't. No. And then I just wonder what these people, obviously they've got no shame because, they're going on television to try to allegedly find love. And some of them do have, decent professions where, medical, or there's one, she's a broadcaster, she was a news anchor. And it just kind of makes you wonder, are you done in that line of work now? Are you going to be taken seriously as a reporter when you've gone and done this and made a fool of yourself? I don't know. So I live tweet Monday nights for The Bachelor, and then also during the award shows, because it's award show season, which now lasts about 6-7 months. And, I like to comment. I'm not one of those people. You realize now that, when the SAG Awards are on, or the Grammys or the Oscars, depending on who you follow, every fifth tweet that night is somebody telling you the winner, right? Best new artist is so-and-so. And it's not even just the news outlets. It is, everybody who's watching the show. And it's really obnoxious. So what I do is I don't announce the winners. I just, again, go with the sarcasm and make fun of people and make general observations about it. And that's what I enjoy doing. So at SF Celeb Watch. Now, speaking of award shows, Grammys are right around the corner. We have got one of our friends from E! News who is going to be talking about the Grammys, and that is everything from the snubs to the predictions to the fashion to everything. So one of our friends from E! News will be joining us next week on the podcast. We've already taped that. It's in the bag. It's done. And then for the Oscars, we've got another E! News correspondent who will be the movie expert who will be joining us later in the month to talk movies. And naturally, we've got that hashtag Oscars so white. We've got the big snubs. We've got everything turns into a race debate these days, it seems. So we talked about that. And again, we've already taped that, so it's already done. And I know that there are good, 20-minute conversations. So if you're a movie fan or if you're a music fan, you're going to want to stay tuned in the next couple of weeks as the award shows approach. But yes, I think we're doing the Grammys one next week, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. And again, back to that whole indie artist thing, live at jbonair.com. And even if you are just an author who's written a book, I really do want to hear from people. And it's genuine because I love hearing people's stories. I've had one guy who has tuned into the show since, I don't remember what he said, episode 3 or week 3, and naturally he's now heard all of the shows because he subscribes. And we've had a great email relationship back and forth because, he's in business school and he wants to do this, he wants to do that, he wants to come up with, a platform for this kind of a website, or he wants to do that. And it's just really cool to collaborate, or not collaborate, but, get his creative ideas and sort of ask him questions to make him look at things a different way from a marketing point of view or a publicity point of view or something. And I just really enjoy conversations like that. So live at jbonair.com. I'm very approachable. I do reply to people's emails. If you spam me, I don't. But definitely, it's awesome hearing from you. So if you ever want to check out our daily entertainment show called Entertainment Wrap-Up, celebrity news and gossip, whenever you want it, it's at entertainmentwrapup.com. Now, I tell you this, but depending on when you listen to this, the website might not be up and running. Here's the deal, is that we found out that there's a problem with the website, so we have to basically revamp it in the next, day or two, completely redesign it, completely start from scratch, so that'll be happening. But we do have the entertainment headlines on there, and you can also go to speakfreecelebwatch.com, speakfreecelebwatch.com, and on our main website, thescribbleshow.com, you can actually scroll to the bottom and you can see the link. Links are down there. But that's where we've got all the celebrity guests from the radio shows, from the podcast. You can take a look where we've had David Finn from Undateable. We had Kenny Rogers when I was live in his dressing room here on The Scribble last September. Jeff Probst from Survivor. Phil Kogan from Amazing Race. So we've got all of those interviews on there. So that's definitely worth checking out if you've got a fan favorite in terms of reality show or some music. We've got those all on there. SpeakFreeCelebWatch.com. Now, those books that we were talking about, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate and Put Down Your Damn Phone Already, you can check those out on Amazon or iTunes, or you can go to SpeakFreeBooks.com. And here's the deal. I'm going to hook you up. Because you've been good and you've been listening now for about 29 minutes, I'm going to give you the coupon code WFP, WFP as in Winnipeg Free Press, WFP, for a 30% discount on the books on that website. So speakfreebooks.com, use the coupon code WFP for a 30% discount on the book as a thank you for tuning in and as a thank you for supporting this indie artist and indie author. But again, we've been really successful at it. We've got a whole company now that produces radio shows and newspaper content and books. So it worked for me, so it can work for you too. You just need to be persistent and not give up. Well, there we go. That is episode 50 of The Scribble, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to give me a shout anytime. It is so awesome hearing from you. Next week, as I said, we've got that the preview of the Grammys. I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,